All right, today let's talk about the song Rock and Roll, covered by the band Phish. It's a Velvet Underground song. Just check it out here for a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of the meat and potatoes right there. The first thing is the C major chord, and it drops to like a B flat here in the root, the bass, but it's like a G minor sort of triad up there, and then up to the F, and then F, G, F, back to C. So like theoretically, what's happening, kind of here is you got the one here supposedly, then like a flatted seventh, right, with sort of a minor G minor, then going up to the 4, 4, 5, 4, 1. So cool chord progression, really interesting. Some cool stuff going on with that second chord. You could play it there. You could also just play like a G minor. See that G on the bass there just doesn't quite work, so like you could suss out that C there, which sounds nice, like C to C sus to your F, F, G, F, C, and like listening to Page's piano there, my good friend Matt James, he's isolated these tracks and we were listening to it at the piano, and Page like does this really cool thing where it's like C to like the C sus to the F, so that'd be a really cool way of playing it too. F, F, G, F, C. So the exact way Trey's playing it, which is news to me. I always thought he was going like this and then going here. And I think that was how he was playing it back in the day. I went and revisited it because I really wanted to know what chord he was playing for that second chord. And he's playing that C there, and then he drops to here and he moves this hand like that. And I think that A string's getting muted. The high E string is probably getting muted, but if it rings out, it's okay. It works. But I don't really hear it when he's strumming it, so like. And so this is a kind of a new chord to me. I don't really ever play this chord, which, I'm not sure what you would title this. It's like a G minor over B flat. Really pretty chord. Okay, so moving on from there, then the sort of chorus goes up to a D minor, despite all the invitations, up to an F, to a G, back to the F, and then to this sort of chorus. That's like a pre-chorus. Do that pre-chorus again. Invitations, despite all our invitations, it was all right. It was all right. First lead melody line comes here starting on C, right? So it's like in the key of C. Boom, boom. So that melody again. If you notice, I really like the bass, sort of my runs and the way I see lead stuff around chords. So like this one, I would see it based around the C major chord here, starting with the C there, and then it's just a major, you know, do, do, re, mi, do, up to the 4, 4, 3, 7, 1, you know, so. And then does that script. So awesome. So that's that first melody, and then the second time they come to that part coming out of the chorus. It was alright. Right, they do that. It was alright. There's this lead part, and it's like, whoops. So. Something like that. I didn't really look at this that well, but it's something like that. It's like it's coming out of, it was alright. Then right into the second lead melody, starting on the what? So this is C being the 1, this is the 3, right? The E. So it starts on the third of the key being the E. And if it's the third mode, you know, the third mode would be the Phrygian. So it goes up, you know, a half step. Phrygian would be this, the continuation of that C major scale. Back down. You know, so you got 3, 3, 5, 5, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 2, 3, 2, 3. And so one more time without me singing along. And back to this thing. Something like that, you know. It's just like a lot of bending in the C vein, right? Based off of this C chord here, right? So your C is there. And he's bending up to the third, right? The 2 to the 3. TREY does this a lot, you know. I know this is a cover. I'm not sure exactly what Lou Reed is playing. I don't know the original too well, especially from a guitar standpoint. But something like that, you know. It's just a lot of bending up to here. And then this bending. But it's totally following that C major. You know, realistically it's the C Mixolydian, but he's not hitting that flatted 7th or the major 7th, so it could just be C major. There's your 1, so the flatted 7th would be there, which he doesn't do, and there's the 7. And we'll get into, I'll talk a little bit more about soloing on top of this chord progression, which would be the 7th, flatted 7th, right? Because right there, that's the flatted 7th. So you're gonna wanna use that Mixolydian scale over this. Anyways, let's finish this song. So coming the third, so close with that melody. Back to here, the verse, and then the pre-chorus. And then there's this like lick, this breakdown, and TREY plays it sort of uniquely every time, but I think this is the idea behind it. I have checked out Lou Reed's version, and whoops. Oh yeah, so I started, whoops. Right think is what I do. Let me double check. That's what I play, and I think it's closer to what Lou, the original version is. TREY, it's always kind of different, but it's in that vein. So like, this kind of keeps it simple, but it's pretty nicely melodical. So, what is it? Okay. One more time slower. I think that's it. But that first part, that first half, that. So like combine those two, I would say. Something like that. It's real close. If you play that live in the mix of everything, it just sounds really nice. It'll work really well. And then the jam. All right. It was all right. It was all right. Come on. All right, all right. All right, so then that's what the jam is, right? It's this C to this G minor over B flat, you know? And if you were to play just straight up B flat major, like that works too, right? And there might be suggestions of Page just playing major to major at times. Very similar, right? There's just what's happening here, one note different, really. You're really adding that 6 up there, you know, which really gives it a lot of flavor. So this is also what I like to look for too if I'm playing on top of a chord progression. You know, what notes in that chord progression make it unique to that chord progression. And so I'll sort of want to make sure I hit those notes or land those notes sometimes. So in this case, you know, you've got this C major, pretty straightforward. But the moment it moves to here, now you've got a flatted 7th. So like immediately I'm thinking, okay, this should be C Mixolydian, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flatted 7th, right? And see your other flatted 7th up here. Okay, and it moves to here, but it's got this, what note is that? G, this G in there, you know, on the top. So like, if I'm soloing on top of that, like when it goes to that chord here, G minor over B flat, like I'm thinking maybe hit that G there to really accent that, you know, that'll give it some nice weight, or hit the B flat here, you know, the flatted 7th. You got your C to your B flat. So like, because this song is so heavily rooted in the C Mixolydian mode, like you want to use the notes that are unique to that Mixolydian mode, which is that flatted 7th. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Let me see if I can loop something here. So I'll loop something, or maybe play on top of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Excuse me there. So also what TREY does, well, a lot of players will do, is when you're in the Mixolydian mode, you know, it's got that major third, but you can throw that minor third in there too. Right there, that minor third, to give it some really nice flavor, some blues sort of feel to it, and TREY will sometimes go to that, you know. Sometimes bend it back down to the major third, right? So there's the major third, minor third. You know, when that chord moves to here, it's in that next chord. So like you can. I love doing that whenever it's the Mixolydian mode. You know, you got that. If you got a 7th chord, just dominant 7th chord. It's got the flatted, you know, the flatted 7th in there, which is same as the minor. And so like it's got some of that minor thing there, so you can kind of get away with going, you know, over. That minor third. And like if you want that bluesy sound or that dark sound, or you want that major sound, you know, start throwing that major third back in there, and that, you know, the normal 6. Like you do kind of want to stay away from that flat 6, which is in the full minor scale. So like the Dorian will work pretty good, right? Flatted third, 4, 5, normal 6. So let's try that. Let's try C Dorian and see sort of how that sounds. So it's like, to me it sticks out right away. If I emphasize that flat 3 in a way that doesn't sound too musical to me, it can stand out too much. So it's like you want to hint it at times, but don't overdo it, I would say. And like, you know, like that's just the 1, then flat 7. This is a real cool lick too. So like the C major here, right? If you take that, but you add that flatted 7. TREY will do this sometimes. I love it. Such a cool sound. It's just by adding that flatted 7th, right? There's your 1. Flatted 7th. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So like, understanding theoretically all the numbers, I'm really big into the numbers. I've gotten bigger and bigger into them in terms of understanding them, seeing them. But the reason for that is to sort of document it, have something to attach it to, so that the ear can hear it and be like, ooh, I hear, you know, a flatted 7th. Before it was just like, I hear that note, because I mainly play by ear. But when I started to get into the modes and stuff and learning all these numbers and how they relate to each other and how they sound next to each other, it started really helping me sort of understand melodic phrasing in a way. It's like, oh, that's what's happening. Oh, I hear that there. I hear that in a different song. So it's like easier to peg and easier to sort of bring back up, you know, when I'm playing. So that's pretty much it. All that there is rock and roll. What a great song. I love that tune. Always love to hear it live. Hopefully this helps some people out there. If you got any questions, I love the comments. I really appreciate the support, all the comments. I do my best to answer each and every one of them. And also, if you ever want to sign up for private guitar lessons, I teach remotely through Zoom and in person here in Austin. And I love teaching. And you know, I'm happy to show you everything I know. All right, y'all. Be well. Have a beautiful day. Peace.